Hi everyone. I've made significant inroads from the last video I posted till now on understanding what the ancients are doing to heal. They've nested the mental procedure in this material, and it's taken a lot to dig it out, but I have it. I can walk people through what to do now that I see what they're doing. And let me tell you exactly what that's going to entail. First of all, let me say this right up front, that this is not any religious or spiritual system, and it can't be portrayed as one. It exists in all of them, but it cannot be portrayed that way, and here's the reason why. If I say, here is how you heal, here is how you do it, and, oh, by the way, Jesus and Muhammad both teach this, you just shut it off. You just shut everybody off to that material that doesn't like Jesus, that doesn't like Muhammad, or that is somebody who loves Jesus and Muhammad, and they listen to you and say, that is not what they say. You're not going to get anywhere. You cannot portray this as a religion. The religions and all of those things are carriers. A Christian who is hurt and hears this put way that is not nested in a religion can use this. So can the Muslim. So can anybody, anywhere can use this as long as you keep it out of the cases. I know what Lao Tzu means right up front when he says, the name that can be named is not the eternal name. Yeah, there's something here, but don't give it a name that is something that is pre-existing, because it's going to come in a lineage of people with fixed ideas about something already, and you've got to get past all of their barriers. Teaching it this way avoids that. It doesn't hit their barriers. It's very important to keep this as very accessible to every human being on the planet. This is how they would grow. This is how people from anywhere in the world would come from their environments, learn and grow above their environments, no matter where they come from. That has to be understood, and that has to be really left in place. Okay, so the procedure that they're using is this. Remember, I'm coming at this from the perspective of people that are hurt and are trying to heal. People who have we're emerging from a mass of humanity, and we're trying to rise up above that. And somewhere along life, we're in that mass of humanity, and we're trying to rise up. But the mass of humanity not only doesn't want to rise, it doesn't want you to rise. We have to understand that this material is for us to rise above that, regardless of what our belief is. This is what goes after our pain. What they are doing is developing their higher self first. Let me describe what that is. I know what it is, and what I didn't realize in my life is that I was accidentally highly developing mine. I had no idea what it was. I just thought it was part of my consciousness. In fact, if you watch my other videos and have heard me ever say something like I've become very clinical about the healing process, boom, that's exactly why. And I didn't know it. It's because I can step outside of the pain just like that, or the fear, and I didn't know that. The fear is still there. I can just we have ways of circumventing it. We have ways of looking at it without feeling it. And that's what we have to develop. What it is a part of you that can look at yourself from outside yourself. That is something you build in your imagination. I mean, just close your eyes and you can see yourself sitting there. But now in your imagination, as you're sitting there, pretend like you're sitting beside yourself, looking at yourself. Hi. Or over there, or up above, looking down upon yourself. Get those images in, and we can imagine those images. What they're doing is starting there, and then working on those images within the individual. This is the training that has to happen before you go on the trek. This part of your personality exists in an area where it is devoid of that mess down there. It is above the emotions. If you become that person and you start looking at things, if you put that in your mind, if you pretend like you are that other self, and you go look at your issues and they hurt and you feel them, you're not there. That is, the higher self should be able to look at things from a detached enough perspective that you see that you are a bigger something emerging out of a mess. Once you can get to that mental point where you have the confidence that you can look at things that are uncomfortable, hurtful, painful, and shameful inside of you, we got the same thing going on. We can't get past that. We cannot circumvent our own shame and pain and fear. This is meant to go in and begin to look at things that you don't want to look at, because that's the only way to heal them, is to understand them, to see where they come from, to see what motivates them, to understand the scope of them. The bigger you see in the picture, the more you go, what, that's it? Our fears are held in, many things. Okay, I don't want to start there. I'm going off. I don't quite know how to teach this. I see what they're doing, but I'm working on a way to teach it. But that's what they're doing. They're developing that part. Now, some people are going to have that naturally already. They're like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. Really? That's it? Yeah, that's it. If you can look at yourself without the emotional attachment, you're already there. You're ready to go. Some people are close. Some people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. I cannot get out of my own head. We have to start at that point. People that want to go on this path that haven't developed that, we have to figure out how that happens. I will tell you, in my life, I used to climb a lot up in the mountains here in where I live. And there's a lot of really rugged mountains that are just, they're not fun. People don't come here to climb mountains. They're broken, talus, crumbly edges. They're long, arduous. And I loved it out there because I would just go out there by myself and you would be alone. You could spend, 12 hours climbing up a mountain and back down and just hiking. It's not like rope climbing, but it's, Anyway, there were a couple of places up there. There's some popular mountains with these knife ridges on them and things that are very scary for people. And I somehow right off the bat, because I have a fear of heights, so I would get up to these ridges and go, oh my God, the exposure is so high. Even though you might be safe, it's like from all around you, there's nothing. And you just feel like very exposed. It's a high exposure thing. But what I've learned early on was I saw somebody there that was like terrified. And instead of what I did, I snapped out of myself and I went and helped that person. And what I realized as I was helping that person get across, I instantly didn't have any fear. And I realized, wow, my fear is gone while I'm focused on helping this person. And then when I was out there, most of the time solo, a lot of times solo, I would be on some of those ridges and I would get a little shaky and I'm by myself. There's nobody there to help. What I would do is I envision myself from like I'm up above and I see myself on that ridge down below, like if I'm like a drone shot or something. And I look and I see, oh yeah, there's lots of room. I see that. I'm actually a very small thing on this bigger ridge. I'm just a little bit freaked out about it. What I realize now, what I was doing is that's it. That's the part we're trying to develop. That part that can stay separate from it, look at it without the emotional connection to it. That's the part right there that we need to have in place. That is the part that's going to allow us, without opening up to anybody else, keeping it inside of us. We can keep it secret. That's going to allow us to go inside and begin looking at things that we don't want to look at because they're shameful, but we know we need to look at them because they're hurting our life. That is what is nested. The thing I'm going to do then is just work on this procedure right here. You see, it's a mental construct. We have, our consciousness has 3 modes. It's either passive, active, it's either listening or sending things out, or there's this part of us that we can separate ourselves from. That is the part right there that we need to be. This is the part, actually, when you get rid of all of the stuff that's in the way, you become more this person right here. You become, you stay up here. So honestly, I am I'm not really back to the drawing board, but the entire focus of my channel right here, I'm changing it. I'm not going to be going through continuous decoding verses. You saw me going through that looking for patterns. It was just repetitive so much. I actually hid about 9 hours worth of Gospel of Thomas, all of my first videos, because I get so much attention on that I don't want. This is the path that goes in your mind. And if you need somebody else, if you need to follow somebody, it's not in your mind. I'm not doing that. And there's a point where people that go on this search are in that position where they're listening and watching people, but you got to turn and make it your own. When that happens, suddenly the leader is you and knowledge and your capacity to manage your emotional state in order to change your life, because everything that impedes you is up here. It's not out there. What I need to figure out then is how to proceed. And What I think needs to happen is that first, let me say this. If you already are familiar with what I'm talking about and you think, oh, I got that. Yeah, I got that character. Maybe you're riding a bus or whatever throughout the day. You can practice while you've got time, imagining yourself. You kind of have this image of what's already around you. You kind of got this internal 3D map, as it were, of what things are around you. Just close your eyes and pull that up. See yourself in it and see what you're doing. And keep practicing doing that until you can pull yourself far enough away from it that you're kind of detached from what is happening down there. If you can practice that, go ahead, and that's what you need to do. It is exactly that part of us where we go in and we begin to address the pain that we have inside. And literally, this is what the pain that you have inside. You could be talking about issues that you have to deal with that also are people we've lost in our past. Pain from suicide and murder, other things like that, where if we want to heal, if we want to find some way to reconcile undealt with feelings, this is how we do that. Then you can go in and emerge with those feelings, yet having this characteristic close by so you can safely deal with this without being emotionally racked to the point that you have to pull away. Because if you go at it straight like that, they tend to just fight each other, and it's difficult to do. You have to come at it from a different part of who and what you are, and you have to develop that part. And then some of the easier stuff, smaller things, we can probably resolve that stuff pretty quickly. There are other things, however, that have been really put in for a long time, and they're not going to be easy to get. That you might have to go look at them again and again and again, because we practice for many hours having that same kind of pain. Some pain we might have and we get it put away real quickly. Other pain we might have that we accumulate for a long time. It's going to affect different people differently. You might go in after something and go, wow, that cleared right up. There might be other times where it's like, God, it eases a little bit. It eases a little bit. Keep doing it, keep finding it. It might take a little bit longer because we got wired that way. That's your go-to. When you were a kid and you had no brain wiring, yeah. Stupid kid. Do I have to, yeah. What kind of a home did you come from? That's how you got wired. And you have to understand that. You have to realize that it's a bigger picture. You got wired that way because you were programmed by somebody else who was wired that way, and they didn't figure it out. When we start looking at things in this manner, we start being able to cease feeling victim status, start realizing that we can rise above that, and that actually everybody is victims, and we're the ones that get out. The people that hurt us were victims in some way, and they're still victims. When we get it in our heads that it's a bigger thing like that, it makes it easier for us to go, yeah, it happened to me too. And then in that moment, what changes at that moment is you suddenly broke through your fear barrier. It changes your life, but you got to do that. That's how it's going to work. And there are things that continue to unfold. And if you can think of something in your head that is the very first and the worst, go for that. That's the one right there. That is the initial cornerstone, the building block from the rest of your life emerged from. Go for the big one. And a lot of the other stuff won't have to be dealt with. It'll just, the supporting mechanism for them will be gone. For the people that can't get there right away, for the people that say, I don't know what you're talking about, I cannot see myself that way. That's where I need to start. That's where I need to figure out how to make a video that's going to help people begin developing that part of them if they don't. And I cannot underscore this character is who you need to become. Right there. This is not like, oh, I'll give that a shot. What other tools do you have? This is the operator of the tools. You got to create this person or the rest of the tools don't work. It starts out with you being able to look at your life without feeling it, and you have to just practice rising above it until that happens. Drills can make that happen. I realized what I was doing in life was going through drills. As I'm doing this hours and hours on end, I'm wiring that in without even knowing that I'm doing it. It's happening accidentally because of just what's happening in life. So how lucky am I? There are people who can't. I've Talked to one of my daughters recently who said, I can kind of get that, Dad. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, though. And I know that that's the case. But based on what I've described here, for the seeker, you should be up here going, oh, yeah, I get that. And if you're here at this point along the way, there's a selection process and things like that. If you're here paying attention and you want to jump on this, you've already made it through those steps already. They're not magical. They are something different, but we'll get back to that. Then what you want to do, if you develop that character if you're ready to move ahead, develop that character, then go look at your pain. Go look at yourself when you were hurt. Some people have a moment in time. Some people have years. So be careful. But what you want to do is move into that. And if you feel hurt by it, back away. You're not developed enough. You should be able to look at your situation in your life with enough detachment that you can see that you are not, that you're different people, that there's different parts of you, and that there's a part of you that is organic, that is coming from that organic place, emerging to some place that is higher than that. And you have to understand, we're just going through that. We got to let ourselves off the hook. We come from a place of animals looking for a place of spirit. How do we move from one to the other? You see how I don't know how to say this, but for your perspective, you have to look at it that way. You have to realize that there's a level of energy down here and a certain kind of existence that we emerge from, that we're trying to leave behind. And the things that we hang on to from there that hurt us, that we can't get past, are the things that are going to keep us right there. We have to be able to look at all of that stuff in a way that we realize, God, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, I'm ashamed. No, I don't want to open up about it. But you look at it and look at it and look at it enough. You look at you having the experience. You look at, where did that come from? The person, how do you come about? We come about from our experiences. Step back far enough, you see that person as a child who was doing something to you, the experiences that they were having. And maybe they weren't a victim, but they're somehow in this mode of operation where there is survival of the fittest unchecked happening. And in the meantime, we have enough development now to have the capacity to keep holding that pain. Imagine a million years ago, you'd let that pain go, move right on. Now we got other things going on. We're separated. We don't talk things out. We keep things hidden inside of us. And that, if you have anything inside of you that you can't talk out with somebody, boom. If you have something inside of you that is hatred towards somebody else that you hang on to, boom. All of these things are impeding our life. And yeah, I think I've said enough. I just wanted to say this, that I'm going to change the way the videos look. And I'm going to start the next one trying to help people find this part of themselves that they need to practice and build in order to turn inward. Love one another. Love yourself. I'll see you in the next video.